Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
For time, though. See if Collins can hang on. Rear naked choke in.
I don't know if he's going to finish it. Oh, tapping at the last moment. Wow.
Buzzer beater win there for Huntley.
Another episode of Trash Talk. TJ O'Connor being joined tonight by Jason Huntley, who's fighting November 15th at Jackpot Junction Casino for Driller Promotions. Trash Talk is sponsored, as always, by Valhalla Combat Sports Incorporated, Ink Shrinks Tattoo, and Mile High CBD Buds. Jason, how are you doing today, sir?
Real good. You?
I'm doing well. Appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. Again, you're fighting at this point this Friday, November 15th, going against Eric Kemper. How's everything been going just leading up to the fight?
Good, real good. Camp's been good. It's been busy. It's been a high pace. We've got a lot of young, small guys in there, so it's a good push.
Oh, definitely. I would say a lot of guys, to say the least. I mean, especially around your weight, a lot of killers. I mean, you're definitely one of them in that list. Just guys that are going, always constantly fighting, all the big names. This fight right here, this is a rematch. This isn't your first rematch as a professional, but this is the first time, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that you're going into the rematch where you won the first fight. What's the mindset been going like as far as focusing on yourself, being how the fight was a couple years ago already. It was quite a long time ago.
Yeah, I think it was my third or fourth pro fight, and it was tough. It was a war. I mean, the kid, he cut me open, and I ended up with stitches, and we had a pretty good scrap back and forth. I think it was a split decision win on my end. I know it was a decision, but I think it was a split, and it was just a good hard fight. I mean, he brings it, so.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great fight, and the first fight took place for Drilla on the Mecca card as well, correct?
Yep.
So just continuing the transition here on Mecca 15. This fight, it was announced a little bit ago now, a couple months ago. What's the camp been like for you leading up to this fight? You mentioned all the guys that you're working with in the room. What's the energy been like leading up to this big fight?
We've had a lot of guys in there that have been fighting. We've got a lot of guys that have been really active. And that's kind of been the focus, is the guys that are fighting are the ones that get the attention and get the, we try to cater towards those guys and make sure that they're doing what they need to be doing. Myself, personally, I've been doing a lot of work, so I've been missing a lot of the team practices and coming in the evenings and working with some of the teammates that way. I haven't gotten a lot of the morning pro practices, but we still get the pushes at night. So the practices have still been there. They just haven't been in the daytime.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're still getting the work in. And, I mean, I'd assume that at a gym like the Minnesota Martial Arts Academy, anytime you walk in, it's a room full of killers. So, I mean, and that has shown now. Going into this fight now, I mean, you're a veteran at this point. Fighting Eric, one of my favorite things I've seen thus far is just the friendly competitiveness that I've seen between you two leading into this fight. I feel like I wouldn't say, you're friends by any means. You're going to fight the guy, but I feel like there's a mutual respect there. Would you agree with that?
I'm going to go one step further and say that we probably would be friends. I've offered. He's talked about coming up to the academy a few times, and I've offered him a place to stay. I mean, he's a good guy from what I know of him, and he's never been, malicious or said anything wrong. Or we're friends on Facebook, and he tags me, and I'd be friends with the guy outside of the fight. I'd fight him anyway,
Definitely. And then that's just the fight game. You could be friends with a guy and throw hands all day. I mean, we fight our best friends every day at training practice. So, I mean, I always feel that sense. Does that play a different mindset when you got the call saying that it's going to be a rematch with Eric? Did that play a little bit different, or was it just, all right, well, where's the contract?
More backstory. Him and I have been kind of matched up a few times on like a Dean Lamb card. And there's been a couple times where we've been almost kind of thrown back in the cage again with this rematch. And I saw that they were fighting out there in Morton, and I grew up out in that area. So I said, hey, Jeremy, throw me on this card. I want to fight Kemper. We've talked about it, him and I, in messages a few times. When's this going to happen? Are we going to run this back? And finally, I threw it at Jeremy, and Jeremy said, hey, here you go. This is what we're going to do. This is how it's going to go down. This is what's up. All right, send me the contract. So here we are.
That's awesome because I was gonna say, fighting that jackpot. I grew up in that area, went to high school in that area myself, so
Okay.
I feel like that's one of the first places I ever went to live fights. I feel like it's a great environment. I was wondering if that played a factor in this fight, but I mean, so you actually asked for this fight to fight at jackpot.
And the opponent as well.
I mean, so definitely you know what you're getting into for sure. Um, all the work's been going through. What have you been focusing on yourself for this camp to try to improve on? I mean, everybody knows you're a good grappler. Everybody knows your game. Everybody knows you have great cardio. What's been the next evolution for Jason Huntley?
A little bit more technique, trying to stay a little more technical. Actually focusing on submissions instead of getting into the position where I've got a submission and let go of it to throw some hands. I always like to do the damage versus the submission. It's just my mentality. I don't know why. I'll skip the submission to throw a punch. So I've been focusing on trying to clean up the submission game a little bit and actually attempt them versus fake them and throw a punch. So
No, I definitely know that firsthand. That's something I used to joke about back in the day is, you can give me your arm. I'm just going to push it to the side and punch you in the face here real quick. But,
yeah,
understanding the game itself, leading into this fight, who's been some of your main training partners that you'd want to give a shout out to, here today?
Sean Stebbins, obviously. He fought Kemper recently. And then John Castaneda. We've got Adam. He's fighting the same card with me. He's a newer guy in the academy. Young amateur. Solid kickboxing. Nick Compton's kind of come back to the gym. He was out in Colorado for a little while. Who else is in there? Josh Fleck. David Keto's been a pretty consistent guy that I get a lot of rounds in with. And then obviously my last loss, Sean McPadden. He's at the academy now. So, and I underrated him a little bit when I fought him, and he's a legit guy. People need to watch out for him, and he pushes paces. He's got slick submission game. So, and he's bigger than I am, but it's been a help. So.
Man, I can only imagine the work. Everybody you name there, I mean, certified killer it would be a way to sum it up. Getting those working with the guys, especially you mentioned so many guys around your size. I mean, Nick Compton might be a little bit bigger. Josh Fleck might be a little bit bigger, but I mean, what huge shout out to Josh Fleck on his championship win. I know that, you were there for him. I seen he was kind of teasing you a little bit with the weight cutting photos. What was it like, being there with Josh leading up to this fight and seeing that? Just to kind of, at this point, you're the veteran in the room and just getting to share that with the up and coming guys.
Well, the vibe in the room is a lot different. I wasn't actually at the fight with him, but I had some other personal things to attend to. But watching him, he's so happy-go-lucky, just laid back and gets in there and fights like it's no big deal and does his thing and goes home and takes his belt with him. It's props to him. It's fun watching these young kids come up. I'm 41 now, and I'm watching these young kids, and we've got a good nucleus around Stebbins, and he's really kind of pushing things and locking things down, maybe his military background and whatever he's got going on. But it's fun to watch. The vibe of the room has changed a lot back from when it was Brandon Gertz and Zach Jusela and Ben Smith and Volkman and those guys. There was more of a, I wouldn't call it a hard nose, but there was a little more chippiness going on. And now everybody's friends, but we're not afraid to whack on each other a little bit either. So,
Yeah, you mentioned Hard Nose and Jacob Volkman. I think those are synonymous with each other. So I definitely understand what you're saying about that and just feeding off the energy of, like you said, these young guys, you're the veteran getting to feel off that. And I can only imagine being in a room like that, feeling that energy. You probably go all day with that type of atmosphere.
Well, those are bigger guys. When you get under one of those guys, you're stuck, Ben Smith, he RFA vet, fought for the title at, what was he, 171 or something,
Yeah, big guys. And like I said, that just goes to show your experience in this game. And I'm very excited for this fight. I think this is a good fight for you. I'm excited. I'm a fan of rematches just because as a connoisseur of the game, I know what really goes into a rematch. When you're the guy that wins, sometimes it's a little bit more pressure than the guy that lost just because you already succeeded. You have to do something different and make it look just as good. So I'm excited to see what you're able to bring to the cage this Friday night. just before we wrap this up, is there any teammates or sponsors, anybody you want to give a shout out to? Anybody outside of the gym that's been there for you?
Yeah, we got Wade Hossey over at Team Solo Clothing. He's been real good at taking care of me, keeping me geared up and keeping some clothes on my back. We got Ruth and Brian Bordley over at Fast Repair, taking care of the truck for me, keeping me to and from practice. Sarah Wagner for CBD. She's got some CBD essentials that she's taking care of me with, helping with some of the recovery stuff, which has been real good. Who else? Dual Printing's taking care of my shorts for me. That'll be nice. Fight shorts are printing for me. I'm first time with these guys. It's been good. They're nice and close to home. Obviously, everybody at the academy itself, Greg and Andy and Nat and the coaches there, all my teammates that have helped push me and kind of changed my focus a little bit on certain things and said, hey, look here, look there, forget about that. Yeah.
Man, that's awesome to hear the support system. And I mean, you mentioned the coaches at the academy. Those are names that everybody knows. So I mean, just that's such a solid support. And then having the sponsors there with you as well, the new clothing, everything like that. I couldn't be more excited. Again, Jason Huntley versus Eric Kemper, November 15th, Jackpot Junction Casino, Driller Promotions, Mecca number 15. Get your tickets. Jason, appreciate your time, sir. Best of luck finishing up the rest of this weight cut here for you, and best of skill on Friday night.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Like and subscribe to Damian and Trash Talk. Like and subscribe to Trash Talk with Damian and TJ. Thank you.
Are you listening? Damn.